Young children are usually always a sore spot and topic of debate for most people because of their vulnerability and lack of real world experience. Children are to be coveted and protected and provided for, especially when it comes down to protecting against child predators and the dangers that this world and society presents. But what if the danger was right there in your own home? As a child, what do you do? How do you escape the danger that's sleeping in the room right next to you? This story begins with the birth of a boy in 2016 named Logan Mwangi. And he's born in England in a small town called Bridgen, Wales. And when I say small, I mean a population of less than 50,000 people. And he's born to a man named Benjamin Mwangi and a woman named Ingrid Williamson. Now, very shortly after Logan's birth, the relationship between his parents runs its course and dissolves, which is not uncommon, right? Sometimes a child can change the dynamic of a relationship completely. So the relationship breaks down, and the father, Benjamin, returns to live in Brentwood, Essex, which is another small town in England. But on their first official Father's Day, Benjamin does visit his son Logan, and it is decided among the parents that both the mother, Ingrid, and Logan will move to Brentwood to close the distance between father and son. So they do in fact make the move, but just 2 months later, both the boy and his mother move back to Wales. And as she does towards the end of 2016, she begins a relationship with another man named John Cole. That relationship turns into a marriage, but it doesn't take long for it to take a turn for the worst. That marriage turns violent between the two adults, and as it does, the contact between Logan and his biological father stops completely. John Cole is one of the major reasons for this because he steps in to basically run interference and drive a wall between the boy, his mother, and his father. Benjamin doesn't see his son again until 2019 when Ingrid takes Logan to visit him, and this is the very last time that Benjamin would ever see his son alive again. From this point, we fast forward a year to August of 2020, and things in the home where Logan is staying are starting to get worse. The violence is ramping up, and it's spreading now to reach Logan, who is just 4 years old by this time. And there's also another kid living in the home, which happens to be John Cole's stepson, Craig Mulligan. The first recorded incident that we run into takes place on August 16th of 2020 when Logan is taken to the hospital by his mother, who tells them that he dislocated his shoulder after falling down a flight of stairs a day earlier. So in this instance, medical staff take the boy in and find that he has not a dislocated shoulder but a broken arm. The doctors have this feeling that something isn't right. A fall down some stairs, while painful, can be severe in certain cases, certainly, but it shouldn't have resulted in Logan's arm being broken if he had simply slipped. So they make a referral to social services, and the mother gives a statement to the police, but otherwise there's really nothing the hospital can really do. At this point in time, by law, they don't have the right to hold the boy and keep him away from his home environment. So Logan returns home, and we fast forward again to January 21st of the following year. Ingrid ends up placing a call to the police and tells them that John's 14-year-old stepson, Craig, has admitted to pushing Logan down the stairs, breaking his arm. But ultimately, nothing is really done, and by the summer of that year, in June, Logan is officially removed from the Child Protection Registry after social workers cite that they no longer consider him to be in significant danger. This is also coupled with the pandemic issues that the world was facing. So there may have been a need to keep him quarantined and at home versus being under the tutelage and watchful eye of someone else. But the very next month in July, Logan suffers a broken collarbone. And in addition to this, he's diagnosed with COVID-19, which means that he has to quarantine at home and self-isolate. And unfortunately, nobody but little 4-year-old Logan really knows what he's going through behind closed doors at home. On July 29th, it is documented that some sort of assault on Logan had taken place at the hands of both John Cole and his 14-year-old stepson, Craig, that led to him being punched in the stomach. The very next day, a social worker by the name of Deborah Williams arrives at the home due to the complaint that is made, but she is denied entry. She ends up waiting outside, knocking and requesting to come inside for 20 minutes before she ultimately leaves without ever seeing or hearing Logan.
Oh, son, he's alive. He's not here.
Okay, take a breath. When did you see him last?
I don't see him in the bed last night. Logan!
Okay, take a breath. He's 5 and he's gone. Can you see any of the
Logan!
Logan!
So this phone call you're hearing sounds like a typical situation where the mother is obviously distraught and in turmoil, right? And initially, the information shared through this phone call was all investigators had to go on. But things really began to come together for the police when they decided to track down any nearby surveillance footage that they could find. And before I show you exactly what they found, I'm going to play this small snippet of footage here first.
Logan!
You want to know what's really wild to me as I sit through and watch the footage from some of these cases? The lengths that some people are willing to go to keep up a facade and feign ignorance, when in reality they know exactly what's going on. And this family is one of the greatest examples of this. From the 14-year-old son all the way down to the mother and stepfather. Each of these individuals, while pretending to search for Logan, knew all along exactly where he was. And it's really sick to watch them move around on camera pretending to be searching for Logan as if they have no idea what has happened to him. So as the manhunt for Logan was ongoing and his family combed through the woods and grasslands, investigators are busy combing through surveillance footage from the neighbor's camera who lives across the street from them. And what they find is a peculiar block of footage taken from the night before Ingrid makes the phone call to 911, or their version of 911, which I think is 611 or something. I can't remember. But in that footage, although it's dark, police are able to make out at least two individuals that leave out the back of the family home in the middle of the night and travel upwards towards that tree line. While those two figures are moving in the shadows, there's a light that can be seen flicking on inside of the home. And as they are going over that footage, another team ends up finding the body of 5-year-old Logan, which had been partially submerged into the river, only 820 feet away from his very own home. He still had on his dinosaur pajama bottoms and his Spider-Man top. So, police know by now from the footage that there were multiple people moving around in the middle of the night before Logan was reported missing, which is in contrast to what Ingrid has told the police. According to her, she was asleep all night long and didn't find out Logan was missing until the following morning. And it turns out that that wasn't the only red flag for the investigators. While they were inside of the home talking with the parents after Logan's disappearance, gathering information and witness reports, right there next to the kitchen area is the washroom. And inside of that washroom, they notice that the washing machine is turned on and there are items of clothing actually being washed as they're standing there.
I'm out to see my own biological son.
I heard. Look.
He is unconscious.
Listen,
Why is he unconscious?
Listen, I don't know. I don't know. Right now, the best thing...
All I'm getting is answers like this. Why is no one telling me what's
I
going
don't
on?
know. Sweetheart, look.
He's
please.
my baby.
Darling.
What's going on?
We need to calm down. We need to do the job. Yeah?
I do. I'm not saying it's not reasonable.
If he's unconscious, he needs me. He needs
He
warm
needs the
clothes.
ambulance
He
service at the
needs
minute.
mum.
He's got blankets.
He
They've
needs
got
his
blankets, okay?
I feel so useless, Dad.
I know.
It's not my fault.
Now, as an investigator, you don't even need to know what's inside of the washing machine to know that there's something off about this. Because in what world, when your youngest child is missing, would it ever dawn on you to do laundry all of a sudden? You're like, oh, my little sweet so-and-so, Tyler or whatever, is missing. I guess I better throw a load of laundry into the washing machine and wait on them to come back. Like, no. You're not just going to be casually doing laundry while your child is out in the world lost and has possibly been abducted. In addition to this odd behavior, the mother, by this point, is overdoing it on camera. What do I mean by that? Well, she's trying to go for an Oscar or something because she's overly dramatic to the point where it seems like she's more so acting out what she thinks she should be doing instead of what she's actually feeling.
It's Monday, the 2nd of August 2021. And Harrod, tell me everything you know about what happened to Logan.
Logan got washed, and then I let him choose his pajamas. He had his black bottoms with his little dinosaur ones on, and he was wearing a black Spider-Man top.
So a few dry sniffs. We can't see the face clear enough to see whether there's any genuine tears there, but what we can see is the head going further down. We can see the hands clamping, and we can hear the quality of voice which fits more with the whine rather than the genuine sadness. And in addition, there's the illustrators that she's using. She's trying too hard.
He had his black bottoms with his little dinosaur ones on, and he was wearing a black Spider-Man top. So we had a mixed match outfit.
This kind of excessive illustrators is to do with trying to convince people, which you don't need to do if you're telling the truth.
I put Logan to bed and I tucked him in.
If you watch the tip of the nose, we get this little head shake no. So these affirmative claims of I put him to bed and I tucked him in are highly likely to be deceptive because we're seeing the body tell us the truth that no, this is not what happened.
And then I woke up and Logan wasn't there.
During this first interview, officers showed Williamson the CCTV footage shot from a neighbour's house.
Can I continue on, Harrod?
Well, what the hell as much as I can.
From the CCTV, lights appear on and off at various intervals through the early hours.
No, I did not switch the light off. I was asleep.
Wow, what a recovery. She's now using a tone which is a little bit aggressive, and she's saying, I did not switch the light on. But if we remember here, seconds before this, she was trying to perform sadness.
Well, what the hell as much as I can.
Now, does this sound like she's still in a sad state?
No, I did not switch the light off. I was asleep.
She's very forceful, definitive, and the switches are almost split-second, impossible with genuine emotions.
And so the investigators notice all of this, right? But they don't make any mention of it at the time. They're just quietly taking everything in. And once they gather all of the circumstantial evidence, the video surveillance, and other context clues that they've come across, they felt confident enough to make their move.
Okay. So, this is John, okay? All right, John. Right. You've obviously come to speak to. What I need to tell you now, okay? 1822. I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Logan.
What?
I do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, okay? The necessity for my arrest of you today is for prompt and effective investigation, to protect a vulnerable person, and to prevent the loss and secure of any additional evidence we need, okay?
Why am I getting arrested?
Right, do you want to have a sit down by there a minute, please? Do you want to have a sit down by here a minute, Hannah? And have a sit by here now. Just sit down on the...
I haven't done anything wrong!
Do you want to have a sit down by there a minute, right? Don't want you falling down, right? Have a sit down by there, okay?
Listen to what Vicky's going to say.
Okay? Right, you're under arrest on suspicion of murder, okay? So you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which will later lie in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Necessity for the arrest, okay, is to prevent loss of property, to allow a prompt and effective investigation, and to protect vulnerable persons and children, okay? We get social services, okay?
Don't take my children away!
No? Okay, it's as part of the investigation.
I haven't done anything wrong!
Okay.
Where is Logan? Where is Logan,
He's
please?
still with us at the moment. He's still in the hospital with doctors.
What happened to him?
Can't explain anything further at the moment.
Why is nobody talking to me? You're supposed to be helping find out what happened, not arresting me when I'm telling you my son's...
Okay.
What is wrong with you guys? You're supposed to be helping me.
And I understand you're upset. I understand.
Is your son dead? Is your son been found in a river?
Okay, and Harrod, we understand you're very upset. We've on investigation.
I'm very upset. I've just lost my son. You've taken my life.
So everyone was arrested. And the interesting thing is that once they were all separated and in front of investigators, everybody's story began to change. Fingers were pointing literally everywhere at this point. The stepson and his father turned on Ingrid, saying that she did it. And the mother said that it was the father and stepson who beat Logan to death. But everything would come out at trial. At trial, the gruesome and brutal death of Logan was put on full display as the coroner explained the physical state Logan's body was found in. Logan had suffered and sustained 56 separate injuries at the time of his death, including internal injuries and tears to his liver and bowels. There were numerous bruises, scratches, cuts, and fractured areas on his little body. And when you couple these findings with the thought that this little boy had no one to turn to, everyone who was supposed to look after him failed him, from the previous doctors that reported various injuries on his body to the court system that stripped away the power from his social worker to do anything about it, to his very own parents and older sibling. He was suffering a brutal life behind closed doors, all alone, likely for years. And it's wow, you know. In the end of it all, John Cole, who was 40 at the time, was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 29 years. The mother, Ingrid Williamson, who had put on that far-fetched display of emotional trauma, she was 31 years old at the time, and she was also given a life sentence with a minimum term of 28 years. And the 14-year-old stepson, who showed no remorse whatsoever at any point throughout this investigation, he was sentenced to life as well, with a minimum of 15 years. To watch this family on camera put on a show for the investigators and police and the authorities that were there, knowing full well that they had all contributed to this little boy's death just one night prior, is heartbreaking. May the soul of Logan Mwangi rest in peace.